Hello everyone, and I've been finishing off all the achievements for Warhammer 3. It's something that I've had on my bucket list for this year, with the Wood Elves being the last ones. But recently I just did the Dark Elves, and as you can see, some problems are still kind of arising. This being kind of just really weird activity for factions on the campaign map. And it's made me think, yeah, there's still quite a lot of issues that need to be resolved sooner rather than later, preferably before a brand new game comes out and takes all the attention. So in this video, we're going to talk about the biggest issues in Total War Warhammer 3, and hopefully Creative Assembly will resolve them as soon as possible, basically. But before anything, a big thank you to our video sponsor, Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is a platform where you'll be able to buy games at a discounted rate. There's loads of games coming out lately, which is great because it's giving us more to do, so you might as well get yourself a sweet discount when you can. I am waiting for Resident Evil Requiem. I'm a really big Resident Evil fan, and I've been getting kind of into how they've been taking the direction of the franchise lately, so I'm pretty hyped up for that. You can get a pretty damn good sweet discount with that too. But there's loads of games on offer, and I suggest checking it out. Not only that, but we have our monthly giveaway going on. Win the game of your choice. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below and sign up. You don't even have to make a purchase. Though making a purchase using my special link, also found in the description below, supports the channel at no extra cost to you. Again, this is a company that I've been using for a fair amount of time too, so I'm always happy to work with them, especially as funds are right now tied to finally finishing off my Warhammer projects, so if I can get a good discount, I am going to do so. Thank you once again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Now let's return to our regularly scheduled programming. So we'll talk about the AI stuff on the campaign before anything else, because I already talked about it in the intro, and I just want to kind of add to it. I've played a few campaigns on stream recently, and it's not been good. Clearly, it's something that needs multiple patches to fix. Creative Assembly have done some stuff to ease it, but I have noticed it kind of happening and stopping, so the AI just goes back to normal and then happens again. There's a lot of weird factors, and it just acts so strange. In fact, I've been doing a Wood Elf campaign recently. Well, I started it on stream, and now I'm going to hopefully finish it today at the same time as this video going live. Pop down to twitch.tv/thegreatbookofgrudges if you want to see me suffer for a Wood Elves campaign. But yeah, it's odd. There is a lot of factions just kind of holding out, and every now and then they'll declare war and push out, which is great, but still feels like not a lot is going on. In some cases, you'll see armies kind of moving around a little bit, which is awesome, but in other locations with the same faction, they'll just be totally stagnant. It would be good to see everything kind of move up again and actually have proper defenses, or else the inconsistency, I would say, is probably the worst thing possible. Because you don't really know how to judge what the AI is going to do at that point. It's just, maybe it moves, maybe it doesn't. Sieges. Okay, so we talked about this fairly recently in its own dedicated video, but I don't think Creative Assembly realized how much of a slog sieges can be. It's really odd because we had that big beta, and while it didn't solve a lot of problems, it did help out in certain points. The thing is, and what worries me right now, is that the big next patch isn't going to be here until 8.0, and that's going to be the Lords of the End Times. So we likely won't see siege fixes there. Now, we could see it in 7.1, 7.2, or 7.3, whenever that happens, but when we're also looking towards the fact that the character pack is also coming, the attention is likely going to be placed there more than anything else. They'll likely want to make the DLC as best as it can, even if it's smaller, to make sure that it sells and doesn't cause another major shit show. But sieges have been a very clear issue for quite some time now. It's not just been from Warhammer 3, it's been from Game 1, essentially. And it's something that needs to be resolved sooner rather than later. I think a bit too much time has been allowed in terms of leeway, because, yeah, bandages don't really fix the problem. The thing is, it's not just the basic AI and pathfinding, it's a lot of other things. Cities need to be fixed up. The Bretonnians have like 4 battle maps and that's it. 2 of them are shared between minor and major settlements. There's just a wall being added in and that's it. The Tomb Kings have less, I believe. There is a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to the battle maps, which does allow for a lot of fatigue. While it doesn't solve a lot of problems mechanically, if you're seeing the same battle map over and over again, more than likely you're just gonna kind of just stop, right? Like right now I'm playing a Wood Elf campaign on stream, and it's getting really tedious seeing the same map over and over again when they're attacking me, because there is only one defense map for the Wood Elves. The other situation also is the fix that was actually introduced, this whole thing about removing certain maps from rotation, from minor settlements, when you attack them, you can just end up in a field battle. That doesn't fix anything. The bandit situation just doesn't really help. You can just put a plaster all you want, but all it's doing is waiting until it just kind of loses its tape and just falls off, right? And this is what's happening. What needs to be done at a certain point is start reusing some of the battle maps and giving them to multiple factions in an effort to just have that going. And we've seen that already. Cafe shares themes with, I think, the Empire and then someone else. The Chaos Dwarfs share the layouts with others. Everyone shares layouts in one way, shape, or form. And that's perfectly fine because the visual issue is fixed, but there needs to be more. So they need to start doing that slowly and surely to allow, because obviously it's not going to be one patch and done. It's never going to be one patch and done, but it's going to allow for a lot more visual changes. I'm tired of fighting in the Empire and seeing the same maps over and over again. There needs to be a little bit of a difference there because it does lead to fatigue. It's also the case, again, we need to get stuff like AI fixes, pathfinding. Pathfinding is atrocious. Certain maps are so bad that your units, after you send them to do something, they don't know what to do. Removing the bat ladders and, removing like siege attacker from a lot of factions, it didn't really help. If anything, it just slowed it down a little bit more, and it slowed down the campaign to a glacial pace, which is not ideal for a game that has its AI constantly cheating and skipping a lot of those mechanics just to kind of get faster and stronger. You're just not really getting a proper fix there. What you're doing is you're just allowing the AI to have more advantages whilst you get nerfed over. AI battle logic is awful. There is no logic, right? The AI will mostly just try to do the same thing over and over again. It will try to push you to the side, it will try to flank you with cavalry, but it's incredibly, and I mean incredibly easy just to tell what they're going to do. It sucks because in most cases, if you just want to avoid a problem, you can sit at a corner. And that's it. I don't think the AI has enough problem-solving mechanics here, which is weird because it's been a thing for a while, though it does feel like in some cases the AI knows how to handle it better in older titles. Now, while I will admit that some things are handled very well, like for example the AI knows how to use magic fairly decently and knows when and where to cast certain spells, though I have seen the casting just like being buffed up for some reason, like at the other side of the map before they even get to you. So the buff will just kind of get wasted. It feels like a proper overhaul needs to be done here just to make the battles a little bit more engaging. They're always going to be a little bit gamey. I know some people, like the historical fans, are going to go like, well, yeah, Total War Warhammer is gamey because monsters and magic. It's always going to be gamey. It was the same thing with like Three Kingdoms or even Attila. Certain units were just very, very powerful. Certain units were busted. I feel like fixing up the logic there, especially when it comes to battle logic for players too. The responsive time for, well, a lot, let's be fair, range units still having the problems and units getting stuck in melee despite the fact that they're not really engaged. Maybe just one unit is engaged and they just kind of rubber band backwards. That type of stuff overall, battles need to be improved for the benefit of the title as a whole. The best thing about Total War, is it's not the campaign, it's the battles, right? There's so many cool things that you can do in these battles, whether it be historical or it be fantasy and soon enough sci-fi. Good battles leads to, well, the fan base being happy. So you want your enemies to be a bit smarter and not like the previous time where they were just dodging every single just shot, but you want them to be able to do stuff alongside your units acting the way that they should. I was playing a lot of Attila recently, and the unit response time is actually a lot better, though there is a lot of issues with pathfinding. Alliances and vassals. So these kind of act as core mechanics. I mean, they're supposed to be, but there's no point in getting into an alliance because right now, alliances just serve into dragging you into more and more wars. And in most cases, when you jump into a war, someone attacks you, yeah, your alliance will just leave you, unless they are like in a very strong position. I've never really felt the need to be in an alliance, and that really sucks because you want that, right? Especially, and I think it's got a lot to do with like the diplomacy system in Three Kingdoms. You just kind of want everything to be like Three Kingdoms there. Same thing can be said about the vassals. The vassal system just doesn't work. The AI doesn't know how to handle the orders that you give it, and sometimes will just mostly send its armies straight into death or do nothing at all. They serve more of a purpose of giving you some sort of income, which, yeah, I mean, for the Warriors of Chaos is kind of nice, and even then you can kind of ignore that. But no other faction really benefits from having vassals, and you just kind of have them just for the sake of it, when you can just take those buildings for yourself and have your own economy being boosted up quite dramatically. I feel like it just is one of the worst factors in Total War Warhammer right now. It's a shame that it hasn't been improved upon. We've just had some DLCs come out, like for example, the Aisling DLC could have had a benefit towards Alliances reworks, right? Rather than just confederating those characters, it would have been nice to have something there. Or, you know, we've got Warriors of Chaos, which make a lot of use of vassals, and yet nothing has really been done with that system. Nagash is coming, and I'm expecting Nagash to have some sort of vassal system, so hopefully that can be reworked by that point. If not, it's just going to be kind of disappointing. We're going to have to wait and see, but I wouldn't want to see this series end without, like, fixes to, like, core things, which you expect, and we know quite deeply about lore that are more active in this period, right? Now, this last thing isn't really so much of an issue, more so I'm incredibly jealous in a sense, right? Total War Pharaoh has great customization. Absolutely amazing. I know some people don't really play Pharaoh, and I can understand why. It's very niche. Hell, I'm not too interested in it because it's not really my type of period, but the customization there is fantastic. And it's slowly creeping into Warhammer, but I'd say a bit too slowly. Now we can actually turn on stuff like, you know, certain new unusual locations, or we can then have certain aspects being changed a little bit, but I'd love to see more. I think that stuff like this allows the player base to really tailor their campaign to exactly how they want, and this means that everyone is having a lot more fun. Most cases, I'd keep stuff in very vanilla standards because, you know, that's my type of thing. But every now and then, you just want to have something totally ridiculous. And I think Pharaoh has done that incredibly well. It's a shame that it hasn't been ported fully, and I'd love to see that being ported not only to this game, but to some other titles too. Customization has been something that has been lacking in Total War quite a lot, barring mods, of course, because there's some really cool mods out there. The modding scene for Total War has always kind of kept the flame burning when things have gotten silent by Creative Assembly. So it's always good and we should always appreciate them, but it would always be nice to have customization options in a vanilla format. Stuff like that should be thought about and should have actually been thought about years ago, and it's about time that we start to see it just being actively put into the other titles. Alright, so it's just 5 issues, I'd say. I mean, there's a few others, but these are the ones that really are, I think, priority, in my opinion, and I could be wrong here. I mean, there's other bugs, you know, like the gate bug, but I don't think that's ever going to get fixed. Hell, I am very much expecting that when we go to Total War 40k or Med3 or, I don't know, Total War Hyenas, you know, we'll see the gate bug there. I just, for some reason, I just see it there. It's become a feature. But, you know, we've got a new game coming, and we don't know exactly when that's going to come. I'm just thinking about these issues, which, you know, Creative Assembly have said it's very daunting. There's a lot of work to it. But I'd love to see these things fixed up. Because, yes, I do have a genuine fear that maybe we'll get to the end, because they'll just kind of, like, end it without saying anything, and core issues won't be fixed up. Especially with a new title that is likely, let's be honest here, going to take a lot of attention away. I mean, 40k is monolithic in its own right, so it was going to demand a lot more eyes and hands onto it. I love Warhammer 40. I adore this title. This is why I got over 4,000 hours into it. It is my favorite game. I don't think anything comes close to it. So I want it to be the best it can be. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. This video should be coming out a little bit late today because you have no idea the amount of stuff I'm trying to sort out for not only this channel, but a bunch of stuff on the back end. Believe me, there's some really exciting stuff coming. It's just, there's a lot of stuff to sort out. Oh boy. But we're getting there, and I can't wait to talk to you about what my plans are for 2026. I've got some really, really big plans. I'm just waiting for a certain few things to just line together. At least I hope so. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Again, I'll be live on twitch.tv/thegreatbookofgrudges, playing the Wood Elf campaign about the same time that this video goes live. So I'm hopefully going to finish the campaign. If not, you know, I might just burst into tears because the Wood Elf campaign is incredibly boring, but it's the last achievement that I need. So I really want that done. See you guys. Have a good one.